All right, let's continue with the controller. We're going to, before we start texturing this, we're going to fix the baking errors that we have, and those baking artifacts are on the cord and inside the plug here. And we'll need to fix both the normal map and the ambient occlusion map to completely get rid of it. Because we don't have any serious indentations or anything on this cord, and the user is never really going to see this interior, or if so, it'll just be in passing. We're not going to worry about hand painting this. We're essentially just going to mask out the normal map information and the ambient occlusion information for those shells that represent the cord and the interior of the plug. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to go to texture set settings and normal mixing. Make sure this is set to replace. Next, I'm going to go up to channels and hit this plus icon and choose ambient occlusion. That way I will have an ambient occlusion channel that I can paint on. And where it says ambient occlusion mixing, I'm going to change this to replace. So again, I've added the ambient occlusion channel by hitting the plus icon, and then I've set normal mixing and ambient occlusion mixing to replace. Next, I'm going to go to layers and click on this fill layer icon, and I'll change this to, I'll name this, I'm going to turn off everything except for normal and AO in here. And then if you look over here under textures, you'll see here are all the textures that we baked. First, I'm going to select this normal map texture and click and drag it on the word normal and let go. And then I will do the same thing with ambient occlusion, and I'll drag it onto the ambient occlusion. Next, I'm going to right click on the baking fixes and add a white mask. And down here, let's say I'm going to make sure this is set to black. And then on the left hand side, I'll change this to polygon fill. Make sure this is set to black. I'll choose this UV chunk fill. I could hand paint this, but because my UVs are set up in such a way, I can do it this way. So here are the 4 UV shells that represent the cord. So if I click on one, you'll see it completely masked off the ambient occlusion map and the normal map for that shell. So I'm going to do that for each of them. Now you can see that those artifacts are gone. And I can come in here to the plug, and I can click on the shells here to get rid of those artifacts. I'll just make sure the ambient occlusion map and the normal map are still showing up, which they are. And that's good. We've now fixed our baking errors that we had. And in the next video, we will begin to texture the object, the controller. See you there.